Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel. This is the time of year. It's our last episode of 2024. We're going to be looking back at the best, the worst. We talk sequels, ridiculous scenes, and what other items come up when we're reminiscing 2024. But before I mention anything about it, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing good, Doug. I can't believe it's been a year already.
Wow, what a year, right? When you really look back, like when I sent you that list of the 52 episodes we had for the year, there's definitely some ones that I know we covered them, but it was just so long ago. I was thinking it was almost like a few years ago.
You know, it's definitely been a year. You know, we've been doing this for a couple of years, and you know, I've said this before. This has definitely been a challenging year, I think, on movies. And when I looked at the list, I forgot even some of the plots on some of them. Like, I mean, it was like, I mean, it just felt like it really did, like you said, I feel like it felt like it was so long ago that some of them just weren't even in the memory bank.
I know. So we'll go through some of the categories, and like I mentioned, some other memories of the year will pop up. And again, before we even start this, we couldn't do this without obviously our listeners. For all the people that subscribe to us, listen to us, the love we've been getting on YouTube. So we appreciate it. If you are new here, like, subscribe, and share. Obviously, our guests, our amazing guests, will touch on, I think each of them will mention something. Without our guests, we'd be nothing, because our format is we interview somebody that worked on it, and then we cover the sequel the next week. And we wouldn't be able to do the second part without the first. So thank you for that. And then all of our guest reviewers. We know a lot of new faces. We went with some of our tried and true. And it's always almost funny. It's almost been a year without Andrew, because Andrew did a movie in January of last year. So if you get an action scene, we'll get him back with Andrew Powers, horror expert Chris Egan, and then our bad movie sequel expert, Nick Spurdo. So thank you guys. So yeah, let's go into it. What category should we go? We should obviously save like some of the better things for last. How about like a kind of silly silly one? I kind of said it, but how about top 4 sequel characters from 2024?
Okay, let me see. Because did I do the top sequel? Because I know I have the worst characters.
Okay.
But I did the tops.
All right. Well, what do you have? You can jot some notes.
Okay.
If I'm doing something on another one. But
you know what?
Which one do you want to start with?
Okay, let's do worst character. I could have sworn I did top. Maybe, you know what? Might not have been on the list. Okay, so let's do the worst character.
All right. And Jamie's top 4 worst sequel characters of 2024 is?
Well, do you want to go back and forth, or you want me to go through all mine first?
I think you should do all of yours.
Okay. So I'm going to go through my top 4 in no particular order.
They're so equal. They could all be the worst.
Yeah, I mean, okay. All right. So I'm going to start off with Justin Long. And I know we might have disagreed on that. I thought his character in Die Hard was just super annoying and super whiny. You know, for someone that is just thrust in the middle of nonstop action, he then, you know, cracks jokes and he wants to eat something and he's whining. It was just annoying. And listen, the movie is bad. So when you have a annoying character in a bad movie, it just makes it worse.
Okay.
Again, no particular order. So Justin doesn't mean you're the worst. So then, I forgot his name, but I'm going to go with the class of 1999, the brother.
Oh, the brother. Yeah. I was looking at that IMDb before. I forgot his name. He's in a ton of stuff, but yeah.
He's in a ton of stuff, right? And, you know, but the fact that he's trying to act cool in his gang and like, he looks like he just plays Dungeons and Dragons and, you know, like, you know, he does not belong in any kind of gang whatsoever. And just, yeah, I mean, and the fact that he gets pounded, like he's in a circle of getting beat up and he's like, okay. Like I think the kid, you give him one slap, he's going down. So
yeah, he had no damage. His brother had. Yeah, no, that was ridiculous. He had nothing. Yeah. And then when we thought he was dead, he somehow survived. This little kid gets like beat up by 3 robots, and he survives.
Yeah, ridiculous. So, all right. So we'll do number 3, DC Young Fly.
Wow, DC Young Fly. Okay,
and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like he was channeling what's his name.
Chris Tucker. But that's who he is. That's a DC Young Fly's like that in everything.
Yeah, well, see, I don't know him. So, you know, to base it on just what I saw.
Well, we covered him in another movie, but you probably didn't remember it. But he was in I Got Stuck Up too. and he played the same character.
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember the movie. I don't remember him as much.
Yeah.
I just, again, Chris Tucker's so iconic in that kind of role, Rush Hour kind of, like, and for him to like really chat, I just thought it was annoying. I thought like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it. It just, I don't know. It felt too cheeseball next to Chris Tucker. I mean, he's the top, and then you get someone that's, again, even if that's him, it's not as good as Chris Tucker. So, and lastly, I'm going with an Academy Award winner.
Whoa,
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
I felt like in Ocean's 13 or whatever was it?
Ocean 8.
Oh, there's so many of them that I just felt like she tried to play hard, way too hard. Like she tried to play badass. I mean, the fact that she's committing crimes the second she's out of prison, I mean, like not even, I think she was trying to steal something out of the police station when she was already like leaving. It was just too annoying. She was trying to be too cool and too hard, like criminal. And it just doesn't fit her. She's normally the sweet and kind of like, and when you try to like flip it, it just doesn't work. And I just felt like, again, the movie was bad, but yeah, it just didn't work.
She made it worse. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your top 4. And now my top 4 worst sequel character. Oh, I haven't been playing that live. I thought I was doing the drum roll. You haven't heard that any time. When I was like getting excited in my face, probably like, what's he doing? But all right, now we're good on the drum roll. We'll start it now. Maybe I can add it in post for Jamie's. But yeah, my top 4 worst sequel characters of 2024. Again, we'll do Mount Rushmore, no particular order, all equal footing. First up, Tommy O'Shea, Death Wish 5. One of the worst bad guys, and the whole Italian mob group that he is leading. His name's O'Shea. The other guys look more Italian. It just doesn't make sense. And him not knowing who Bronson is in the movie when he's living with his wife. He's like, hey, what's the deal with this guy? What do you mean this guy? You've probably seen him many times before that encounter that we saw.
That's a good one.
All right, next, David Erson. He plays Sheriff Corwin from Critters 2. He's the guy that is just a complete monster in the bunny outfit for Easter for the kids. And he's just being a complete prick. Again, he lived in that town, didn't believe anything that anyone was saying, and then he found it the hard way. He got eaten inside the thing, and somehow he flew through a window. Maybe the critters caught a bit of nerve that makes you jump, but no, that's number 2 for me. And then fun fact, as I saw with our bad sequel expert, Nick, when you see a movie in a movie theater, you watch it more different than you do at home because you can't look at your phone, can't be distracted. And he also plays the anchor that in Die Hard that he's like making the face at him. No, you're not going to do this. He's the anchor on the air talking to the DEA douchebag from Ghostbusters and every other movie. So that was pretty interesting. Next up, the other pair from How I Too, Little Yachty, his character, he just wasn't funny. Like, again, he just was not nailing anything of it, even though he is playing like the Craig, he's playing the straight man. I don't know why we're comparing to, I guess Friday we're thinking of Chris Tucker, but it just made 0 sense for him to be, because he wasn't even a good straight man. All he had to do was say the lines and not try to be funny. And then little DC Young Fly, he was the one that was supposed to bring the jokes home, but it was like he was trying to be too funny and it wasn't working. So that's my third and the last, but not least. It's funny because it's in one of my favorite sequels of all time and favorite sequel of 2024. Debbie Salt, Scream 2. She is the worst. She is a phenomenal actress, and I'm sure it's a direction she was giving. But every time you saw her, even from when I originally saw the movie, I knew she was the killer because she was overacting everything. Every time, even when she was on the payphone outside, it was like, oh, this is weird. She's so close. But then the way she's like Gail. She's like so loud and obnoxious. So yeah, those are my top 4 worst sequel characters of 2024.
That's what I mean. Like same thing with Sandra Bullock, and I think that's part of it is when you're so used to them seeing like they're trying to portray a role that they're not used to and not like, and they overdo it. And yeah, that's a good one. I mean, totally did it, and she's great in a comedy role, straight as the Roseanne's sister. She's great as all that kind of stuff, but she's not a villain. And just, yeah, I mean, I think some people don't know how to portray, the opposite of what they're so used to.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So congratulations to the nominees. Come up and you'll be getting a Sizzler coupon. If you can find a Sizzler, it's a good coupon. Buy one, get one. And then right here, I think is a good point. You know what? Yeah, I think I'll insert a clip of like 3 or 4 seconds of all the sequels we covered in 2024.
That sequels suck. No, wow. Come on, man. Oh, please. By definition alone, they're inferior films.
It's bullshit generalization. Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Questions?
Yeah.
When do I get to see your face so I know whose ass I'm gonna kick?
You got a problem?
And they were affrighted.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, she's saying. There's someone else.
Knock, knock. Bend over and show me that big fat ass.
Where are you?
Looks like you got some kind of alternate universe in there or something.
You're new.
Yeah.
Guess I'll meet you.
Welcome to Lanthrop. I'm Warren Drummond.
Frank Barakowski.
How you doing, Frank?
Do I call you Nine Ball? Nine or Baller? You know you fuck
You see the way the story goes? Some woman, she went nuts, killed all these counselors.
Oh, wow. Thanks, boy. You found it.
I can't hear you! Way to go!
Okay.
Hey, Jack. What's with this ham? It's stuffed like a turkey.
Everything you'd need for lunch is in the refrigerator, of course, and everything.
Yippee-ki-yay.
And listen, so I don't know why. I don't think it was on the list. The best character.
It was because I'm using the same list that I sent you.
Is it? All right. So you know what? I came up with one already, and I could, and maybe we'll have you go first, and maybe.
How about I'll go first because then maybe old Drum
might
jumps that up for you. So
okay.
So yeah, my top 4 sequel characters of 2024 are, again, in no particular order, Grandpa from House 2. He was so cool. Oh, actually, there's 2 people for that. We can really think about it. Him and Ratzenberger's character. Ratzenberger needed another movie, either a prequel or a sequel, just to find out his origin story. But I have Grandpa on my list, so I'll go with him. He is so old, decrepit. He probably smells so bad. He's hitting on girls and getting drunk, crashing cars. He's just an absolute menace. Another one, again, my top isn't like, especially just the best. It's ones that I'll never forget because the way even if they overacted, and the next one definitely overacted, would be Cap, the former Cy Young winner in Trancers 2. Just his character was so silly. He wants to, before he gets killed, because he's so important to the future, he wants to play baseball, and he goes to the liquor store in his full uniform to play with a bunch of hobos. It's just, he's over the top. Third, the janitor from Substitute 2, just the way he's crawling through the walls, and he's like ex-Vietnam. And then somehow in the basement of the school, he can get to a part that only he can, because I'm sure they wouldn't want him to have his own lair. And then last but not least is a character that I think was more of the movie than the namesake, Daredevil from the Trial of the Incredible Hulk. That guy was awesome. It's a shame that maybe the movie didn't do as well, because he should have had the opportunity to have his own sequel after this. So those are my top 4 sequel characters of 2024.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with Helen Bonham Carter in Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
I think she played, for a bad movie. She's awesome. Like, she's great in everything she does, and to me, her character was so good in that movie. She played that role well. The other characters, actually, you know what? What's her name? Who's the blonde?
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. I liked her too. And I always like her, but I think Helen was great. So I'm going to go with her in that role. I'm going with Stallone in Rambo 3.
Oh, nice.
As cheese, compared to the other ones, still Rambo. And like I've seen all the Rambo movies, and he's just so badass. I mean, over the top, and I don't, no pun in but he's just, I think he's just so awesome. I'm gonna go with Rambo. Then let me think.
Just real quick, let me so an honorable mention of worst character for me would definitely be Trout.
You know what? After you say that, 100%. He was he was so useless in that movie.
Yeah.
You know what? That could have been like, okay, that would have been good somewhere else. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good call. I don't know how I missed this category. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna go with Johnny Depp in Dead Man's Curse.
Oh yeah.
I think, again, Captain Jack is, he's funny every time he's on screen. He's over the top, but just, the character's enjoyable. And even though it's not one of the better of the pirates, it's still, he's just so entertaining. He can do a standalone film and throw him in something else, and that character would still do well. So I'm going to go with that one as well. And I'm going to go with what's her face from Trancers.
Oh, McNulty.
McNulty. I want to go with McNulty. Because McNulty was entertaining. I mean, I think, again, she brought some humor. I mean, again, for a very bad movie, it was just so, like, to see McNulty playing a man,
that was the coolest part. Being just like Art LaFleur, and then, like, after we did that review, I told you I searched for some other stuff, and I found a cool behind the scenes featurette, and it's her and Art LaFleur hanging out, and I'm like, that's really cool because the mannerisms and just everything.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's such a pretty woman, and she's smoking this big cigar all the time. She has like the gruff voice, and she just, like, it was just very funny to see, almost like see out of a character. So I'm going to go with those 4.
Okay. So that is our top sequel characters of 2024. Please come up and get your Sizzler coupon, BOGO, wherever you can find one open. It's yours. So next, I'm going to kick off the top 4 interviews of 2024, which is really hard because obviously we always want to talk to people, and the people that share their time, obviously, they want to have a good conversation and look back at their career. But just 4 of them that I think that really are ones that I'm not going to forget. First is Howard Berger, because obviously who he is in the special effects industry, won an Oscar, but just how important he is to, like, the horror community and to so many of our guests. So many people have their origin story that has to do with, oh yeah, I work for, Howard Berger. Just like a few weeks before that, we talked to Bill Hunt, who got his first gig with Howard and K&B and Greg Nicotero. So that's definitely one of them. A recent one, Emmanuel Miller. Just again, we've always wanted to talk to people that that are jobs that we didn't really know too much about, and how people got the journey to get it. Like, we know, hey, Hollywood hairstylist, all right, he cuts people's hairs, but what do they do in the movie? And to me, it was just so amazing. Just hearing about how when he owned a salon, that was it afterwards. Man, I want to, work on a movie set. So that was quite fascinating. Just how the kind of cattiness between stars when you weren't available, or if you were working with somebody they didn't like. So that's definitely up there. Lee Ehrenberg, just because his career is one, and just seeing somebody that is so familiar from the films that he worked on, even in small roles, like, oh man, I know him. It's Mike from Seinfeld, and then his career just booms when he gets into Pirates of the Caribbean. 2 very important characters, has his own action figure, which he thought was pretty cool. Really rad guy. His beginnings with Tim Robbins, doing improv together in theater school. Really awesome. And then last but not least, kind of a connection to Lee Arenberg because they were at UCLA at the same time, had a group of friends that were, mixed. And another job, set decorator with Don Deers. Obviously, he did some, the more broad scope jobs when he was working on like Biodome and being in the full doing it. And then the set decorator is pretty fascinating. How everything's so important, and then he keeps things through all these movies because so hard to find a notepad from the 60s that might be in the vault. So you'd have to go down and pick things for the time period. Yeah. So
this is oh, go ahead.
No, go. You're good.
I was gonna say this has definitely been the year of different types of behind the scenes people.
Totally.
I mean, we always get our special effects people, and we get our actors and actresses, and directors and writers and stuff. But I mean, getting a set director, getting a hairstylist, getting like a composer. It was definitely cool to get that. So okay,
totally, yeah. And Don, which made him perfect for us because he was really quirky. He sent me a hat from the Pick of Destiny, the pizza place, so that was really neat. And in an envelope that's behind me, that's from like the Warner Brothers lot, which is really neat. And he had the chairs from House 2. And before the interview, he watched it and he goes, I have those chairs in my basement, which is really rad. So, Jamie, your top 4 interviews from 2024.
Okay. Well, we have 2 similar. So
okay.
I went with Lee, Arenberg. I mean, he was definitely one of the more known faces, that's so recognized in so much, Seinfeld. And I mean, like, and when I spoke to him, and I know when you spoke to him, such a like down to earth, like dude, like, he was just like, the way he talks, and it was just cool to get someone like that you've seen so many times, in a background, as a side character, and just like, get him. So I thought that was great. I also went with Emmanuel Miller.
Yeah.
When I spoke to him, one of the most humble guys. Like so grateful that, that we even wanted to have an interview with him. He didn't do a lot of interviews. I love the fact that, even as someone that's been, if you look at his IMDb, he's done a lot of stuff. He also is kind of starstruck, and that story with Don Rickles.
Totally.
Like the fact that he, not only the story, but the fact that he kept a sweet and low packet, like, like from Don, that was him, right? That kept it from Don Rickles.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's such a simple, like, little thing, but like that meant a lot to him. It was very cool. And the fact that now Don Rickles doesn't hold back on anybody. And the fact that he held back on him shows a lot about his character. Because I mean,
totally.
I can never imagine Rickles not making fun of just about anybody.
Yeah.
So I went with composer Nathan First.
Nice. I'm wearing his dad's movies hat. If you're watching, I got it for $1 on eBay. The Dream Team.
Well, that was a big part of it, right? You have a father who's an actor, been ton of stuff, and you branch out in a much different way. And it's almost like you create your own, I guess, legacy, right? Your actor, your father, so you go and be composing, and like again, music can make a movie, and if you the right music for our scene can change the entire scene. And just just the fact that he spoke with us. We never had a composer. Did we have a composer before him?
No? We did. We had Elmer Bernstein's son.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that he stepped away from his father's career and started his own and composing, and if you look at his IMDb, man, he's loaded with stuff too. So I thought he was great.
Yeah.
And lastly, Russell Ewan.
Russell.
He's another guy that I felt like was so happy to speak with us. I mean, you could tell it in his voice when he was talking. And anytime you can have a story about Gene Hackman.
I know.
I mean, like, Gene Hackman is probably in my, without a doubt, top 10 actors of all time. But like the story about the car, and like anytime an actor, and this is what I also like about people that we interview. Not only do they talk about themselves, but they share stories about other people that really they're kind of a small piece of that story, but they have those behind the scenes stories. And I just think it was awesome.
Yeah, no. So man, that's a good list too. Yeah. Again, there's so many people, like, just to rattle off the names, because I think it's only fair. I'll do it in order. So editor and director Patrick Lussier, composer Nathan First, actor James Dumont, special effects master Rob Berman, Lee Ehrenberg, actress Leanne Curtis, actress Kathy Christopherson. She was rad because her mom was there, and I was able to ask her mom about what she thought when her daughter moved to Chicago, from Chicago to LA. Susan Gallagher, actress, actor Russell Ewan, actress Junie Hoang, set director Don Deers, special effect makeup artist, another legend in his own right, Jeff Goodwin, actor Mark Atchison, actor Eduardo Ballerini, actress Charlotte Kirk, who it's like a big movie star. She's got some epic movies out in the last year and then coming up. She was cool. Howard Berger, special effects. Bill Hunt, special effects. Neil Matarazzo, actor, special effects master and robotics technician. Eric Allard, actor Alan McKenna, stuntman Chuck Borden, filmmaker Dustin Reichert, stuntman Mark Riccardi, and then Hollywood hairstylist Emmanuel Miller. So those are the 26 people that shared their stories with us last year. So that's pretty amazing.
And you know, I'm going to say this, and I probably say this every year. You know, I speak to them briefly, but they are all, and we've been fortunate, you know, outside of maybe 3 that were kind of like, you know, maybe giving us a hard time, whatever. They're also humble, so welcoming to talk about their life and their stories. It's so nice. I mean, you know, like we really like, you know, if you go back and listen to any of these interviews, every single one of them enjoy having a discussion with you, and just like you could tell, like it's like they, you know, like they're so happy to have someone ask them to do these, and the fact that we don't even we don't talk about their big movies. You know, like you know, we do mention them, but it's a lot of the stuff that never gets mentioned that we discuss, and I just think it's just so awesome that they really all been so great. So I thank them all.
100%. No,
so
definitely, really, thank you. And come up on the stage, nominees. You get a so I guess our 2 that we have the ones that we have the same, they could share the coupon. They get 2 coupons, 2 coupons to the Sizzler for you guys. Buy one get one.
By the way, are there still Sizzlers around?
I don't think that's what I mean.
Are these expired coupons?
They were lifetime coupons, but they're not open.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe there's one independently ran. I went to a Sizzlers in Orlando probably 13 years ago.
Oh, okay. So that's probably the last one. All right. So okay, because I don't remember I haven't seen one like forever. So okay.
So I think I always like to end on positive. So I think we go top 4 worst sequels. And then we'll go with the ridiculous scenes and like ridiculous memories, and then we'll go at the top. So yeah, my top 4 worst sequels of 2024 are Christmas at Graceland, Home for the Holidays. I hope all Hallmark movies aren't like that, because then I'll really think that the people that watch those, there's something wrong with them. But I know that there's a lot of like those type of movies that my wife watches The Good Witch. Good show. They know what they're doing. They're into it. This just sad. Maybe just seeing Adrian Grenier in that type of role, just the dialogue was bad. The fact that she never asked how much she was making from any job. It was just, oh, yeah, you want to do this? Okay, cool. No money mentioned. No reason for her to take that job, except because she didn't want to sleep on a couch for a week. That's not that big of a deal to go live with a stranger. She knows nothing about this guy. She was a good actress. I hope she's in more stuff, but don't want to see her in that. Next one is, again, a sequel that is on the worst sequels of all time list. Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf. Again, we saw a lot of, Sybil Danning, and we see the wrong outfits being sent, like Nick shared during that review, that they were actually like Planet of the Apes costumes instead of, werewolf costumes. So you saw all these weird creatures that were supposed to be werewolves, but they weren't. Oh my God, just unbelievable. And Halloween 2 gets mentioned in the next part. Scanners 2, another movie, just really bad. Like the girl that's in Grizzly 2, The Revenge, she's also in Death Wish 3, plays the girlfriend. I can't think of her name right now. Something. Oh, I should know her last name. She's in this. She's always in some of the worst movies. This one, the fact that we don't know any of the rules for the movies, and then each thing gets progressively like, oh wait, they can actually go inside the other people and fight, like control them. Like why don't they do that the whole time? And then the one guy's able to throw people that he couldn't do earlier. There was just no rules, not fun. And then last but not least, it's not surprising, was they were the worst characters. I mean, Jamie picked one, I picked the other. How High 2? Just not funny. Like I love those type of movies, but just that one was just two guys that I like DC Young Fly, but playing off Little Yachty just did not work. So those are my top 4 worst sequels of 2024. Jamie, according to him, 22 of these probably could tie.
Yeah, and you know what? Your 4 are great. We have one similar. We have one the same. Wow. The other 3 are not.
I'm interested to hear this.
Now that I hear yours, I could easily replace any of mine.
Oh, I'm sure.
This like I said, this year, when we do the top 5 or top 4 best sequels, it was a struggle. I really had to go through. So this is definitely a challenge. So I'm going to start off with the one we have the same.
Okay.
And that's Christmas in Graceland.
Okay.
And I do believe that every Hallmark movie is the same. I just found out that Lacey Schubert, is it Lacey Schubert? Is that the actress? She's in 41 Hallmark movies.
Yeah, and they aged her out. So that's why she's in the Netflix one. They told her she was too old, so they were going young.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, this movie is so ridiculous. Between the amount of snow that they had, near Graceland, which I don't think is normal. Between the kids acting perfect and between just everything, it was just so stupid. So we watch a lot of far-fetched stuff. You would think like Christmas for the at Graceland could be the easiest one not to be far-fetched.
Yeah.
And it's the most far-fetched movie I think we've seen. So so that's there. I've mentioned this movie multiple times, and it's actually in another category. I'm going Ocean's 8.
Wow. Okay.
To me, it just, like I said, it felt forced. It like the plot made no sense. Well, I don't want to get into too much detail because it does get to my ridiculous scene stuff. But it wasn't a joy. I remember trying to watch this, and it took me about 3 watches. I love all the actresses in it. I think they're all good in their.
Mindy Kaling, I know you do love.
Hold on. I forgot. See, I even forgot she's in there. So she would have been my worst character. So if we had it,
these backsies.
No, she's an honorable mention. She goes to honorable mention. The movie just wasn't entertaining. It was just so over the top. And I really feel like the plot, the fact that it's a revenge plot, I don't know. I didn't like it. So Ocean's 8. I'm going with Dennis the Menace. We just watched it. And I just think, again, it wasn't a Dennis the Menace movie. It was a Don Rickles movie. And Don Rickles wasn't even Don Rickles in this movie. It was just so stupid. And I know it's a kid's movie. It was just bad. Outside of Carrot Top looking ridiculous in that first costume.
He looks ridiculous in the second.
No, he does.
For different reasons.
I don't know. It was a hard one to watch as well. Because I didn't even think, listen, it's the same formula as Home Alone kind of thing. And Home Alone I can watch over and over again. Right. This movie just, it was just too much. And the fact that Don Rickles was just not playing himself. So he's not an actor. He's a comedian, and to me, throw him in a movie. If he's not going to be himself, it just doesn't work. Yeah. So I'm going with that one.
Hey, wow.
And my last one is Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man 3, Saturday Night Fever. How could you do?
Oh my gosh. How could I not do it? Which also makes another category later on.
Okay.
So yeah, but it just, and again, what you're getting into when you go into a movie like this. But I think when I talk about the next category of why, what I talk about will explain what adds to why I don't like the movie.
Wow. Okay.
So those are my 4.
So come up, winners, top.
Wait,
are they winners or are they really losers? Hey, they can find a Sizzler. They're winners.
Okay.
Sorry. Cool. So next up, this is one of my favorite ones because I think every one of these sequels. Again, I think sequels. They're almost even great sequels. Any great movie, there is still ridiculous lines, ridiculous scenes. I don't think there's any perfect movie, especially, if you want to not have fun in life and just be like, well, they meant so-and-so. It's a kid's movie or it's a horror movie. It's like, okay, fine. it's still something you can talk about. So yeah, so this would be our top 4 ridiculous scenes from 2024.
Let me go.
You want to go
you went
first?
first last time. Yeah.
Go.
So, okay. So like I said, we have, and just because it's a ridiculous scene doesn't mean I don't like the movie or though, like, but I'm going to start off with the janitor in The Substitute.
That is true.
And the fact that this guy has like a tunneling system in the whole school that he just crawls around seemingly, I think, to every classroom and how like he just he hides. He has a basement full of weapons that are not even weapons. They're everything from machine guns to he might even have I think he has a bazooka down there, right? Doesn't he have?
He has everything. Yeah,
he has everything down there in the basement. No one goes in the basement and sees it. But the fact that he sneaks out in the bathroom through a tunnel is just insane. So I think that's so ridiculous. It's funny and he makes the movie, but it's ridiculous.
Very.
All right. Okay. 2, I'm going back to Ginger Dead Man. That you have a movie. I'm not sure how long the movie is. I'm assuming it's one of the shorter ones.
Yeah, it's like 70 or 80 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, 70 minutes. I would say a good 40 to 50 minutes is just watching them roller skate in a circle.
Yeah, that's true.
The majority of the movie is watching like a 70s roller skating, like show on TV. Again, the movie's not great, but at least I'd rather see the ginger, like, he's a wisecracking little thing running around. I'd rather see more of that. But we saw probably more roller skating than anything else in the movie. And it was just awful. And again, you had the goofy characters roller skating, but then more roller skating. And then you see a scene and then there's more roller skating. It was just way too much roller skating.
Okay, I thought you were going to mention the Porky scene for ridiculous scene with this movie. That the fact that she rips off what is his penis and bites it, and it's a cookie.
I forgot about that scene, but if we are talking about a gingerbread man running around, how ridiculous is that? It's kind of in the same, like, all right, listen, if we can believe a gingerbread is running around, I can believe that he could do a Porky scene.
Yeah.
So
totally.
It's not as ridiculous. So, okay. Then I'm going to go to Christmas in Graceland that I already talked about. And the fact that everyone gets along. So it's not necessarily a ridiculous scene. I'm going ridiculous theme.
Yeah, totally.
And the fact that, I mean, again, you have kids, I have kids, your kids are a little young, so you might not see it yet. I don't know anyone's kids that just have the perfect life. No one gets along. I mean, no one argues. They do things together. And like, it's like the perfect, if you can imagine the perfect world where you have like the perfect snow dropping and the perfect this and that's this movie. And there's no way everybody gets along like that. No matter what, even especially when you have a babysitter, that's when all hell breaks loose and they're still getting along and they're doing fun. So I went with that. And this might be, now I named some ridiculous, not so much, but this to me is probably the most ridiculous. And you may have it on your list.
Yeah.
And it's Die Hard. And the car, when he jumps out, goes up, which not even a ramp, it goes up a column. So there was no ramp there. It goes up a column and goes into the helicopter.
Ridiculous.
And crashes the helicopter. Again, he's in a tunnel. So the car is able to stay straight, not hit the walls of the tunnel when he jumps out. He jumps out of the car that's going about 80 miles an hour. So which he should be dead as he's rolling around the gravel. The car hits a column, drives up the column, not a ramp, column, and flies directly into a helicopter.
Yeah.
That's the most ridiculous. That might be the most ridiculous scene we've seen all year. And there were a lot of them. So those are my 4.
Okay. Wow. So I have a lot of on it. There's so many, even just like, there's so many like plot holes. Maybe next year we'll add like a plot hole.
Plot hole. That's a good one.
But again, it's ridiculous when they miss those type of things. So I have a couple honorable mentions. So I'll mention those first. Scanners 2, any of the mind fighting was ridiculous. Just again, how the rules change and just how the actors, like the way they made the faces when they were scanning the other brains. The fact that there is no trial in the trial of the Incredible Hulk. We saw a little like dream sequence of a court scene, and that was it.
So would that be considered the most ridiculous non-scene?
Yes. Or maybe the fact that the ridiculous scene is that they only showed a dream of it. And that's the movie. That's insane.
That is
Change
so
the name of the movie.
That's
like,
and you know what? We've had a couple movies. Was it Talking Pony? It was a Talking Horse.
Oh, right? It was a horse on the cover.
Like there were a few of these movies that we've had that the title has nothing to do with the movie. Like
exactly.
Yeah. So okay. All right.
But yeah, crazy. Next has to be. It's funny. I wrote this list and I was done. Yeah, and then I was just giving it a once over, and I go, how can I forget the thing that almost made me like fall out of this chair a few months ago? Free Willy, when the kid is playing the harmonica and he drops it off the dock, which is how does he do that? Because Free Willy opens its mouth, catches it on its tongue, and puts it out for the kid to grab it off of.
You know, I once again, I forgot we even did Free Willy. There's multiple ridiculous scenes in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the fact they let a kid do it all.
Let the kid do it all. The fact that they can recognize the whole family structure when they're swimming around. Oh, yeah, there's the uncle over there, and there's the cousin. Like, yeah, the whole movie is so absurd. But yeah, okay. That's a good one.
Next is when the little person is being thrown. Well, these are my real ones now. I'm starting with my real ones. So Free Willy's the first one on the Mount Rushmore. Second is the little person, when the little person dressed like the Jester in Howling 2, when he walks up to him and then throws him out of the window and he lands on Spike. It is 11 seconds that killed me. That clip of that movie, he's just like wrestling with him and then he throws him off and kills him. And that was, what's his name? Christopher Lee killed him. Which is insane.
I totally forgot we did Howling. It's amazing how long ago we did these movies. Like, oh my God, I totally remember that scene. And then why were there spikes out there?
Just you have spikes in the garden, I guess, right?
Oh my!
Honey, what's that over there? I want the roses over there. Random spikes next to it. Gotta have the random spikes. You never know when somebody's gonna have a fatality like Mortal Kombat.
That's what they were. They were like high, like tall spikes. They weren't even like little spikes. They were tall. Like, so what kind of animal are you keeping out of your garden? What kind of animal do you have going there that you need spikes?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Not ridiculous. And then my last two have to do with food. The first obviously has to be the ham bomb. The ham. Hey, why is this stuff like a turkey? That scene is definitely the one of the most ridiculous in a movie that I had so much fun watching. And the last but not least was we did for our 5-year anniversary, Death Wish 5. Just the whole cannoli scene that Bronson's like in there. They know who this guy is now because some of their people are dying. I think he's the first one that dies. They know who he is. You can't tell this guy or be sketched out by a hold in the newspaper so high up.
I was going to say, he's reading the paper. They can't see.
Yeah, he's able to sneak in cyanide into the cannoli and the guy dies from that. But yeah, there's more than that. But those are the 4 ones that were memorable for me in 2024.
I think next year we have to up this category at least to maybe, 6 or 7 because, like this is a fun category and so many more that we're missing. So I think,
Ocean's 8, the fact that she couldn't have dropped it in the water. There was no blind spot.
Oh, wait a second. You know what?
For them to find it in the water.
Hold on. I only did 3. Did I only do 3? I didn't even talk about Ocean's 8.
Oh, you wrote that down too?
I did. I wrote down the entire heist was ridiculous. The fact that they all got jobs there and this prestige, the whole heist was. I can't believe I missed that. Yeah,
I just can't believe that the necklace is in the fountain. They have cameras at the fountain, so they shouldn't be like, oh my God, why is that lady putting the necklace?
But how'd they all get jobs there within like a couple of weeks?
I know.
I mean, you're talking about you have the most expensive, jewelry and paintings or whatever they had there, and you're hiring all new staff within like a couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
So so now we are at the end again. Winners come up. Sizzler, you find it, it's yours, baby. Final going. Great salad bar. And now we're gonna end it with on a positive note. And it's going to be our top 4 sequels from 2024. Jamie, take the lead.
Okay, I'm going to guess we're going to have at least 2 of the same?
I don't know.
Well, again, based on the list, I'm going to say we're going to have two. So
I think
I'm going to
it's possible. Well, we'll see.
I'm going to save the two that I think will be the same to the bottom. So
Okay.
I'm going to start off with Rambo 3.
Okay.
So, and the reason I say that, again, I love First Blood. I love Rambo 2. But because of the list we have, just because it's a Rambo 3, it's still better than everything else we had, right? And again, it was enjoyable. I still love Rambo, but based on all we did, I'm going to put Rambo 3 there. And kind of on the same level, I'm doing Pirates.
Okay.
And again, there weren't a lot to choose from. If I had to choose different pirate movies, this wouldn't be my top choice. But for the movies we have, it's still enjoyable. I mean, all the Pirates are still enjoyable. All the Rambos, even the new Rambos are enjoyable. But for this list, those are my two. Now, the two that I think we have the same, I'm going to say Scream 2.
Okay.
I almost like Scream 2. Well, I don't want to say better than the first one. First one is really good, but Scream 2 is a good follow-up. And I'm going with the New Nightmare.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't have that on there, but that is definitely.
Wow. So New Nightmare, again, and a lot of over-the-top, ridiculous scenes. But such a good movie. And so those are my top four.
So cleverly written. Just to do a sequel that Wes was like, yeah, I want to do this again, but I want it to be different. And the fact that it's like just breaking the fourth wall and Freddy is really real and very, very cool.
Very creative. I mean, it was a creative, listen, it's not a fantastic movie, but it's such a creative movie. And it's Freddy, man. I love all Freddy stuff. So those are my top four.
Wow. Okay. My top four, I'll do the two that we matched on. Scream 2, again, that's one of my favorite sequels of all time.
Okay.
I like it better than the original because I love the college setting. It's like the fish out of water. It's really just her, and obviously there's some of the characters from the first one come afterwards, but it's not much. And it's like her versus everybody's the suspect in the first one. Second one, she doesn't really even know any of some of the other people that she, especially they should have used the two girls as the killers or something. But universe, that would have been really cool because they hated her. They wanted to get with Jerry O'Connell.
But I do like the first one. The reason why I like the first one better is because, first of all, it was very creative. It was very different than what they've, done. And I love as much as I don't like him as an actor, was it not Seth Green? I always get them mixed up.
Jamie Kennedy?
I told you, I always got those two guys mixed up.
He's great in this.
But when he starts talking about the horrors and all that, he was very good in that movie. So I like the first one better, but second one is definitely a close to the first one.
The second one has the line that is us. Talks about the sequels and that whole scene with, you have people that aren't even really in the movie. You have, obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar's in the movie, but you have Joshua Jackson, who's already big at this point, having like a cameo, just having a couple of lines, a couple other actresses in there that, I know you from other things, just with a line or two. No, totally. Rambo 3, I had to put on there. I have the poster, and it's one movie that it was still enjoyable. It's a Rambo movie, not my favorite Rambo, but still, it had enough to make the list when I look back at it. And then here's the two that are different. So first, again, I like movies that are unique that I haven't seen either in a while, I've never seen before, and just had these characters that were so silly and just so over the top ridiculous. House 2. I thought that movie just had so much to it, whether it be Ratzenberger's character. He was a lot of fun. And it was just a movie that I would visit again.
Wait, so all these movies, and now I'm sure you want to kick yourself and not do a New Nightmare on that list.
Yeah, I'm sorry that they're going to get a coupon to the Sizzler,
but House 2 as the top movie?
Yeah. I had a lot of fun watching that one.
Yikes.
Fun movie.
Okay.
Guy from Fright Night as the brother. He was good in it. You had Bill Maher in it. You had what's her name just looking like an absolute smoke show. Laura Parker Lincoln in this one. No, awesome movie. Awesome. And then last but not least is a movie that when we do this podcast, I would never know of what Munchie is. Of some of these other ridiculous ones. I think of Munchie. That's the one that really has a hold of my heart now. Munchie and Munchie Strikes Back just from this podcast. But a new one that's going to have I tried to watch the original, not as good because this one is the perfect of quirkiness. Trancers 2.
Oh my gosh.
I truly loved this movie. Everything about it. Jamie's having an aneurysm over here.
Oh my gosh.
Over this one.
Your last two, the top movies that we've done, and those are the two?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's rough. Okay.
Maybe it's a little bit that it was a grim year, but those are movies I'm never going to forget. The next time somebody hands me a bombed, a ham stuffed with a bomb in it, I'm going to tell them to hold the mustard. And it's like, I don't know what that means, but it was just so ridiculous. Everything in it. The movie made 0 sense, but everybody like overacted so much. And him like cheating on his wife right in front of it. Helen Hunt's in this. It was
the amount of kissing he does makes it a bad movie to begin with. I mean, it's so gross.
For him, that was a great day on set.
Listen, this is why our podcast works, because 90% of the movies that you like, I hate. So,
which is 90% of the movies that we cover.
I can't believe you don't have New Nightmare on there. I really,
no, it is true. When I looked at the list, it's not that New Nightmare wouldn't be like 5 or 6, but I think of these movies that I'm never going to forget. I'll never forget Trancers.
So if you had a choice to watch Trancers or New Nightmare, you're going to pick Trancers?
It depends on my mood. It really depends on my mood. I love the overacting in it and the voiceover work, and it just had a perfect feel. That's when Full Moon had it going on. I even think I always pick the Full Moon movies because I loved Oblivion 2, which we might interview Lash in 2025. So that was our awards. All the winners, please come up. Get that last call for that buy one get one coupon. Because if not, me and Jamie will find one to eat like kings. So that was 2024. What a fun year. Any other notes before we close out the year?
I'm hoping that we can kind of turn the tide a little bit. And listen, bad movies are a big part of our podcast. I just hope we can sprinkle in a few good ones. More than we did this year, because we went on a run that was torture. Like it really was. Like it was like if I was captured and they needed some information to get out of me, they'll sit me in a room to watch these movies back to back to back. I'll tell them everything just to stop it. We need to get a couple of good ones.
But boss, he's not talking. Show him the Don Rickles frog squirt in the tub one more time and slow up when we see his thigh. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Next week, we don't know the sequel we're going to cover yet because there's not that many for this actor, but he's in so much. Antonio Sabato Jr. kicking off 2025 with a bang. Amazing guy, amazing career, and just some amazing stories from his life. His father was an actor in Italy, in some big movies that were super mainstream around the world. But we talked about the struggles moving here, moving to LA and Beverly Hills, as a teen, learning the language because he's Italian born, how he's a boxer now and he's trying to box Jake Paul. And,
good, let him.
I hope so. He can beat him, right? Yeah. But great way to kick off 2025. Sequel-wise, we'll announce it next week when the interview comes out. So, I'll say it again. Don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.